Hello, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Sophie.
Following our last video on English being a stress-timed language, we received quite a few comments. One which kept coming up was, what would English sound like if it was spoken in a syllable-timed way? And vice versa, what would a syllable-timed language sound if it was spoken with a stress-timed pattern?
Very good questions, and we thought that we would dedicate today's video to demonstrating this. So we're going to start with saying a sentence in Spanish and then in French, but we're going to say them in a stress-timed way, and then we will do the opposite. So we'll say a sentence in English and say them in a syllable-timed way.
All right, so the first sentence we've come up with is, it'll maybe sound a little bit cliched, but it is a good example because it's a simple sentence and it has the same number of syllables as its English equivalent, which we will use later. So we have vamos a la playa.
In Spanish.
Let's go to the beach, or we're going to the beach. So here, all the syllables are spoken fully, vamos a la playa, even when they're not stressed.
Because it's a syllable-timed. Spanish is a syllable-timed language.
So if we were to say this with a very English intonation, it would sound like vamos a la playa, or vamos a la playa. So the mos, which is not stressed, and the a la, which are function words and which are therefore reduced, will not sound fully pronounced. The vowels will not be fully pronounced, they'll be reduced. It'll be the weak form of those words.
Yeah, almost as if we're ignoring them a little bit.
So, vamos a la playa.
So as you can hear, Natalie is using a very exaggerated English accent as well as an English intonation pattern. You could try and say this without using an English accent and just using an English intonation pattern. It's very difficult. So, vamos a la playa. Vamos a la playa. So that's less of an English accent. It's still an English intonation pattern, and it still sounds a little bit odd. It doesn't sound Spanish. It almost sounds a little bit Portuguese, European Portuguese, and European Portuguese is also a stress-timed language.
Okay, another example in French. We have on achète de la salade. So in French you'd produce all the vowels sort of an equally length. They would be of equal lengths, but all the vowels will be produced fully. On achète de la salade. Or the de might be reduced to de la salade. But if we said this in a very typical stress-timed way, it would be on achète de la salade. On achète de la salade.
On achète de la salade.
Right. And it's very difficult to say that without an English accent. On achète de la salade.
On achète de la salade.
Which sounds very unnatural if it's said in a stress-timed way. It's unnatural for French.
Okay, our second example, or the opposite example, we're going to say an English sentence now, and we're going to use a syllable-timed pattern. So what's our sentence?
So it's the reverse of the vamos a la playa. We're saying we're going to the beach.
We're going to the beach. So as you can hear, we're stressing go in going and beach because these are the two main stresses. Everything else is reduced. It gets shorter to the. We don't say to the, but to the. They're reduced to schwa. We're going to the beach. So how would this sound like pronounced by somebody whose native language might be a more syllable-timed? Spanish or French.
It would be more like, we're going to the beach. We're going to the beach. So they would pronounce the to the. They'd put more stress on the to, whereas we don't need to hear that at all. Normally in English, we completely reduce the to the beach. We don't say to the beach.
Almost
we're going
inaudible.
to the beach. So that's the difference.
So I hope those demonstrations have been interesting. If you want to look at some of our previous videos, please look at our website, accentology.co.uk. And if you're interested in having any one-to-one sessions, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
Accentology.